What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to the Weekend Media Podcast. If you like what you're viewing here on YouTube, hop over to Spotify for the full extended version. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Weekend Media Podcast. I am Jordan Wheeler. This is my co-host, Brian Garcia Tirado. And man, we're ready to rock and roll, dude. It's been a while since we've been doing this. I've been traveling. You got some big things going on right now in your life. There's so much going on between the two of us, and I feel like we don't even have enough time to cover it all.
Yeah, no, a lot's changing. A lot's changing really fast, getting busy real fast. I think our podcast always goes that way. Oh yeah, things are smooth. The next one, but everything's crazy.
Real quick recap about where I've been and what I've been doing is, unfortunately, I did have a loss in my family. I don't even know if I talked to you about it, but I did have an uncle that passed away, so I was gone and I handled that. I was with RTR on the road doing dealer trainings and whatnot. I have been to Seattle, Washington, Sacramento, California, Vancouver, British Columbia, Chicago, Illinois. I went to Charlotte, North Carolina, and then I went to Pigeon Forge for, what is it? Ponies in the Smokies. Ponies in the Smokies. It's all blending together. So I've been all over the place. Yeah, I've been all over the place for the last 3 weeks that I haven't even really got to sit at home and decompress and figure everything out. But then again, with you've had a lot going on here, Mr. Social Media. What has changed for you now?
Yeah, so well, first and foremost, I'm on Team K&N. K&N Air Intakes and Filters, which is like a dream come true. That came to fruition earlier this year, but I was finally able to announce it. We partnered with Helibad, Jesse, Jesse Ornelas. So basically, they launched the next generation cold air intake systems, which are they're pretty badass, dude. They install in like minutes. Installing it in my truck took longer to film it than if I would have just installed it. But the premise is overlanding and off-road and, of course, the drift content. So right now we're just really tackling the trucks and getting those kind of dialed in. And then we're going to dive into more drifting. So I wish I would have partnered with them a lot sooner because I've already got like K&N products all over the Mustang. I'm like, dude, I could save some coin, but I mean, I've always repped them since high school, dude. So that's a dream come true. And then moving on to, I went back to work, bro.
Back to it. See, that one blows my mind is the fact that this dude is back to work at doing a 9 to 5 again. This is crazy.
No, it's absolutely crazy. It's funny because my wife Ashley was like, "Have you been planning this?" And I'm like, "No, I just woke up one day and I called my old boss and I was like, hey, are you in the office?" And we linked up and had some conversations, and they had a lot of really cool stuff going on. And a lot of my friends, Antonio and Will, they still work there, and it was kind of unplanned, dude. He was like, "Yeah, meet me on Monday at the office," and I showed up. He's like, "Yeah, welcome back. Sign this." And I was like, "What?" But really exciting stuff. The Mustang Cup, Ford Performance Mustang Cup.
Of course I do. I'm Mustang everything, man.
So by the time this airs, we should be good. But Leif Johnson has a race team with a Ford Mustang Dark Horse, and the president of the company, his son, young guy, has been into racing Mustangs. He went out and got his like full blown racing license, right? And it's like the craziest thing. He went out there. He's been a CODA, instructors, MSR. His Coke is spicy. And sorry. And
you aren't Latin. I gotta say that right now. You are not Latin if Coke is too spicy for you.
That's spicy. So he got his racing license, man, and he's gonna be his debut race is Optima is in New Orleans, Nolan Motorsports Park for the Mustang Cup. So lots of excitement. We're all going out there. So I got into the role back at Leif Johnson. I just hit the ground running. It's like coming up with media plans, how we're going to film this. Media credentials is pretty much like getting a hard card for the season. So everything's just like right now, it's just like move. And then on top of that, I still got my content. We're getting the Mustang ready for the first competition. So a lot's happening. I need a high pressure power steering line in that car ASAP. It's leaking. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. So a lot of moving pieces. Going to be a lot of traveling. So right when we get back from the Mustang Cup, oh my God, that just stressed me out. I need to get the car dialed back in because that weekend we'll be drifting. You'll be there. So yeah.
Before we hit record, he and I were in a little bit of a back and forth about the first round here of Dreamers of Drift. Now, you had said that you didn't think you were going to compete in the first event prior to us going live here. And I do understand why you said that. And my counter argument to him was either, from my standpoint, I think he either needs to jump in from event number one and go the full season and just see how he does, or don't jump in at all, get more practice underneath his belt, and then hit it next season. So that's kind of where we were. So I'll let you kind of run through where you are right now and what you're thinking and why you're going that route.
Yeah, I mean, initially I was telling you, you don't want to rush something good, and I don't really have everything in place to compete. I told you I've only got 2 sets of tires, and then as you were telling me, I was like, well, I only go through 1 set of tires at Dreamers anyway for like a full 5-6 hour day. 3 sets, what's counting on the car, so 3 total sets of tires, more than enough. Oh, dude, I just realized something. It's a 235 tire rule. That's not what I have. Okay, so anyways, we're going to buy some tires, ladies and gentlemen, because fuck it. Because anyway, so buy tires, cool. So 235 tire rule, and the premise of the conversation was I just didn't feel ready because I haven't tandem. And then you told me that, and then I remember that the sole purpose of me getting into drifting was competition, because that's really what fires up my soul. And to be honest, as I've looked back at the other drift events, I've only done 4. I'm getting kind of bored of solo runs where those heart palpitations are starting to disappear, that excitement of we're getting on the track. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and that's when I said, you know what? I typically always just jump into the deep end, and what I want to know and do best is competition. Fun runs are great, don't get me wrong, but when I put it in that lens, the only way you're going to get good at competing is by competing. So at the level that we're at here locally, it just only makes sense because we're all, maybe except 1 or 2 people, there's some pretty good drivers out there, like we're all kind of on the same level. So there's really nothing to lose and everything to gain in terms of seat time, learning competition, learning your competition groove. So, yeah, convinced myself as I was telling you. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to order up a set of 235s and we're going to party.
I know how much he wants to compete, and I know how far he wants to take this. And I feel like we don't want to get stuck in a rut of I'm not ready because of this or because of that, and not getting to where we need to be. And part of that too, and I was completely honest with him, and this isn't me dogging him because I want the best for him and he knows this. Chances of him making it out of the first round in his very first competition, having never tandem before, are slim. It's not 0, but it's slim. So if we're looking at it that way, we got to at least get him in there familiar with drifting in a competition, the run of show, get those early jitters out of the way, those nerves out of the way from the first event when we already know that he may not advance, and just wash it out that way. So let's just get the nerves out of the way and just go for it, dude. That's what I would say.
That's the thing. I agree with you. The part of my brain that's not agreeing with you is when you start, the doubts. But every time I've done something, every time there's been this this leap and bound progression in driving, it's always been when I push myself out of my comfort zone. Case in point was this last event we just did where you were there. Like, we were just talking about this. Hey, buddy, there's no skid pad. There's 1,000 people watching you, and you got to go link the track. I flopped lap 1, and you told me, hey, when you click second, you cut that corner too close. You need to widen that bitch out. Went out there, linked the track, second try. For the first time ever, too, mind you. So it was and I felt that pressure, and that pressure was really exciting. You know what? Those are the moments where you feel alive. That's the only way I can explain it. And yeah, more than anything, I do want to compete. I set out to compete. And I'm the one that always says, train how you fight. So let's train. And the best way to train is in that fight. You're only going to get better. I have to agree with you. You're right on that one. There's a couple tools I need to purchase. I'm going to go ahead and get some 235s. I'm going to scour Facebook Marketplace for some wheels and tires. And for some wheels, I mean. And I'm going to make this happen in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I live the same philosophy as you know. What I do isn't, I wouldn't say necessarily at my level as risky as what you do per se. But I went out, I got a brand new car. I went out there, I started rally crossing, having never done it before. My only event ever, and it wasn't even an event. It was out there at Rally Ready with Red Bull. It was the first time I ever got behind the wheel of a rally car. And then I said, hell, let's go and do this. And I jumped straight in. And I went a whole season with no damage until recently, just this last event that I did. I mean, I was completely off my game. I was in my own head. Track conditions weren't what I thought they were going to be. I didn't have the right tire on the car, and I stuffed her into a tree. I was able to pound out the dents, a new hood and a new grill, and everything will be fine. But the thing is, like, if you're nervous about doing something, no matter how long you keep practicing, it's never going to take those nerves away. It's just going to prolong when they hit. So,
you know to your point in that, I say I always jump into the deep end. When I did Optima New Orleans, I love that track. I love the facility. And I got out on the big track. I had never been on a big track in my life ever. And here I am doing 135 on the front straight, going into turn 1, 2, 3, and I set the fastest lap. So much so that the event organizers came up to me and said, "Wow, you must do a lot of road racing in Texas." And I said, "No, that was my first time." And they're like, "No, for real, like, quit playing. Like, that was really good. A lot of eyes on you, kid." And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not playing. That was my first time on a racetrack ever. And they went, "Oh, you're being serious." They said, "Dude, that could be dangerous. We could put you in a car with somebody, get some sight laps." And you know what I said? I said, "I ain't planning on crashing. So I just plan on winning." So, and that was another one of those moments of jumping into the deep end, right? I had this vision. I had this idea of what I wanted to do. And I had a plan. I knew what to do, and I knew exactly how I was going to do it. And I went out there and did that. Here's the crazy thing. I sucked at everything else. Speed stop challenge, autocross, all that failed it because I was so scared of the big track that I was just mentally focused on that. So yeah, I think by just focusing on competition, yeah, this is the next step. You know what? For the record, I've only done 4 drift events, and my 5th drift event is going to be a competition. So take that to the bank. Let's do it.
Absolutely. So, like,
sponsor me for nothing.
To kind of get deep here for a second, earlier this year, I lost my grandmother. My grandmother raised me since I was just a little over 1 year old. And then a couple weeks ago, I lost my uncle, who was growing up my only male Black influence that I had in my life. And I was there with my cousin to help him lay him to rest. And it was just wild. And I've lost a couple of friends over the years too, that it was very unexpected. And it just hits you. And this year, it's made me realize, like, we aren't promised any amount of time, you know? Life expectancy is just an ETA based on everybody else out there in the world, but it may be more, it may be less. You can't go off of those numbers. And every day we wake up assuming we're all going to live to be 86 years old or 90 years old. But the very fact of it is, this could be my last conversation with you ever. And we don't know, you know? So to me, I'm kind of done worrying about what other people think, worrying about what could happen. And I just want to live, and I just want to do it. And I say that to anybody that's listening or watching this now. Like, if there's anything that you want to do, don't keep putting it off. Yes, things are scary. Things are nerve-wracking. People could judge you. People could say that you're not going to succeed. But the thing is, if you don't get there and try, you may not get another chance in your life. Anybody who's passed anything up or any opportunity or ever looked back on anything, now is your time to get back at it and you know, revenge your loss in a sense. Because the last thing I want to do is, as I'm laying there and the light is fading away, thinking of all the things I wish I would have gotten a chance to do. So to me, I'm full throttle now. You know what? I'm done worrying about what people think. I'm tired of worrying about, oh, if I pick up this camera, are people going to think I'm weird or think I'm uppity? Or if I go to this event and I suck, is that it? Am I going to pack it up? Am I going to quit? No, because you know what? This could be my last day and I want to go out. Great. And so that's how I'm going to live every single freaking day. And that's how I want you to do it. Because here's the thing. Life could happen. Maybe it's not a death, but there could be something else that comes up in life that stops you later this year or later this month or whatever. So to me, I would rather have you plan on your next event. You go out there and you do everything that you can to compete, because you don't know when work or life or something else is going to get in the way in it. And then it becomes a what if. And what ifs hurt you way more than actually knowing what you could go out there and do and what would be the result.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I side with, I'm younger than you, but I completely agree with you about everything you just said. And, I always tell Ashley, I was like, yeah, like, like whole asset, like just whole asset, like McConaughey says, because when you do whole asset, even if it doesn't work out, you never have to look back and say, what if I would have whole assed it? What if I would have tried? And now you saying that, like, yeah, you're right. Tomorrow's not promised. I'm not promised round 2, 3, or 4. I'm not even promised round 1. So I might as well go to round 1, right? Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I try to tell a lot of young people that when they ask me, like, hey, how do I get to where you're at? Which, by the way, I'm not really, I don't know what they're talking about in that instance. I always tell them the same thing. I say, just do it. What's the thing you want to do, and just do that, right? Like somebody this past weekend, actually, that I was hanging out with, he said he thought it was cringy to pull out a camera and start recording yourself because he saw a girl take a photo with a pretzel, right? And I was like, bro, for all you know, she's a millionaire, and there's 30,000 men who want to see her eating that pretzel. And he's like, yeah, I just don't get it. Right? He's like, it's like wrong. I'm like, it's not wrong. It's the world we live in, you know? But if you sit there and think about how many people are saying, oh, that girl's cringe, I'm cringy taking a picture with my pretzel. You're never going to take the picture with your pretzel, you know? So you see us at drift events, bro, it's hard whipping out that camera. But I do have that thought of, dude, in 3 people, nobody's going to remember any of us. So I'm doing this right now because I don't want to have that what if. So
yeah, I mean, I have the same thing when I go to events, is worrying about pulling out that camera and what people will think of me doing it. But then I just do it and I put myself in that position, because am I going to see these people ever again? Maybe, maybe not though. But if I do ever see them, then they're going to be like, oh, that's that YouTuber that I've met, or that's that dude that works for RTR that I know. He's still out here doing it. Oh, something must be working. So it's either they're going to see you again and you're still rocking it and you're successful and that's why they're seeing you, or they never see you again. And then why does it matter what they thought anyway? Because you don't know them. And even if you do, and that person doesn't support what you're doing, then why does it matter what they think anyway? Because they're not truly there with you. I've had so many nerves about so many things that I just put myself in a situation to say, fuck it. Just put yourself out there and just go and just do it, dude. And like, there's so many things too that we could look at as parents, is if we're the people that are going out there and we're setting the example for, you're setting it for Gabe and I'm setting it for Lauren and Ethan. Well, then we want them to know that you can go out there and do anything that you want and don't worry about what other people think of you. Just know and believe in yourself, because that's all that matters. And that's what I want to set up for my kids. That's what I want to set up for you and your kids, So it's just go out there and do it, man. It's the only way to live, because otherwise, you know what? You're living by somebody else's standards and somebody else's life. And a lot of people out there who are afraid to do things like this, it's because someone never gave them the confidence in themselves to do it, or someone taught them that it's wrong to go out there and be yourself. And either way, that's wrong. As long as I'm not out there causing a disturbance in the world and trying to bring down the patriarchy or whatever the hell it is, I'm out there just doing my thing and trying to share that with other people. And the easiest way to help people relate to that is, even though you may be nervous and even though you may be scared, you go out there and do it anyway, because everybody else that has done it before you is nervous and scared. Everyone that's out there watching you or listening to us right now is nervous or scared to do it, or have been there before. So we're no different than anybody else.
No, exactly. And I mean, to your point, to 2 points, I don't know if you've heard that saying, like when I get scared or when I feel that nervousness, I go, dude, I'm going to be the main character of my movie. Am I really going to let the guy in the credits whose name is Guy in Phone Booth really dictate how I'm going to behave? Like, he's not even named in the credits of my movie of life. He's just the guy in the background. He's a NPC. He's a non-playable character. And I'm worried about what he thinks. And then I go click, right, turn the camera on, and let's do the thing. So those are kind of some of the things that's one of the things that I use to get myself to snap out of it. What was my second point? You said something. Okay, yeah. Everybody is born a baby, a lump of flesh that can't even hold its head up. So to your point, everything that everybody knows they had to learn, right? We always talk about big guys, Vaughn Gittin Jr., Adam LZ, James Dean. They have predispositions, right? But they didn't get to where they're at without working hard, right? So that hard work it got them there. So that grind day in, day out, and not worrying about what other people think, right? So it's kind of the same thing is like with anybody else. If you want to go out there and learn something and do something and get better at something, you just got to go out there and do it regardless of the people around you.
You're living your life. You're not living anybody else's life. And you're not out there doing this. You're not going out there to Dreamers of Drift and upsetting the balance of your family. You're not taking food out of the mouth of Gabe or your wife. You know what I'm saying? So go out there and just do it. Because like you said, it's a learning experience. At the end of this, we're going to know what we need to work on. We're going to know what you're good at, and we're going to know how to start dialing shit in. And then we go for it.
And you know what the beautiful thing is? So a couple talking points there. Like you said, just believe in yourself. The mechanism that I use is the one that I heard from, oh my God, that Irish UFC fighter. What's his name? McGregor.
Conor McGregor.
When the reporter had asked him, like, hey, you had said this at one point, right? You said that, he was going to swing this way, you were going to swing that way and knock him out. And he said, yeah, I said exactly this. And the reporter said, how did you know that? And he talks about like the law of attraction, visualizing the win, visualizing the KO. And he talks about how if you're brave enough to speak it and believe it, it will happen. So I went the other way instead of protecting myself and keeping it kind of hidden. Now when people ask me, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm pursuing my FD Pro license. Like that's what I'm doing. Like, so when you see me out there, what I'm doing is this is what I'm doing. I'm speaking it because I truly believe, like, that's where I'm headed, right? That's why I started all this. And some people kind of look at me like, yeah, sure, buddy. Like, what is that? Right. Especially like the older generation of like, that's like a real thing. Drifting. That's like, I'm in Texas. So. There was another point there and I forgot it. You just talk so damn much.
I know it's what I'm good at. And you know what? It convinces people to do the things that their heart wants them to do.
I remember you said that after this first drift event, then we'll be able to get, this will be our base, this first competition will be our baseline. And then we adjust fire from there. It's funny because you know me pretty well. And I say, hey, I'm going to do this. And I end up doing it. My original goal for beginning drifting was actually 2025. Last year was getting the car together. And what I always do is take that 1 year plan and I try to do it in 30 days. I'm not going to do a 1 year plan in 30 days, let alone a 10-year plan, right? And what happens is I found myself, oh, I'm ready to start drifting. The car's ready. Everything's good. Like, car's fresh. It's not leaking fluids or anything. And then I did the same thing here recently. I was like, okay, I want to link the track in like 4 months. How about we just do it in fucking one event, right? And just keep trying and trying and trying. So to have somebody like you who thinks along the same lines of me, of like, you want to do that? No, absolutely not. How about we just do it now? I do it now, and I do it fast, and I do it now because the sooner you go out there and do it, the sooner you're going to know your faults, the sooner you're going to know what you need to work on, and the sooner you'll get to that end goal. So thank you. That's all I got to say.
Absolutely. And here's another thing too that I look at is I have had the fortune to work with some of the greatest drifters in all of drifting history to this point. I brought it up before. People that have been in my life, whether they were friends or girlfriends or whatever, who thought that my little obsession with cars was dumb and silly and they didn't get it. But look at me now. I'm out here against all odds, a dude who was going to be put into the foster care system as a child, who grew up in a cornfield in the middle of northern Illinois, made it all the way down here to Texas, is working for the greatest drift team in all of Formula Drift history with some of the greatest drivers in the world. And to me, it's, you can say that I can never do this, I can never do that. And I was even one of those people that when people would say, you can do anything you put your mind to, I would say, well, that's bullshit because you don't truly know that. Everybody's different. No, you can't. You can't. But the problem is everybody is so nervous and scared of what other people will think and so nervous and scared of failing that they never achieve it. And before they know it, their light goes out and they are a what if or a could have been until no one remembers them ever again. And I don't want that.
And that sucks. And that's like writing yourself off before you even got on the launch pad. You know what I mean? Shout out to all 12 people who listen to this right now. But I believe in this podcast because I believe that we're going to look back at this because my son is watching my YouTube videos now. He's asking about this car. And he knows it by name, the Challenger. I'm like, buddy, that car's like been long gone. Like, doesn't exist anymore. It's somewhere in a different Iowa or something. So looking back at these podcasts is going to be an amazing thing to look back at. But sometimes I look at my wife and I'm like, bro, I told this woman that I would do it. Like, I have to. I have to prove her right, dude. That's my goal.
Yeah, 100%. And we're going to do that. And here's the thing too. And I say this not to toot my own horn, but as an example is, we say that we have only 12 listeners, which is probably closer to 6. But, whether we're looking at this, our social media on Instagram, what we do on YouTube, we are not Adam LZ. We are not fucking Dude Perfect. We're not all of these guys. But here's the thing. There are people that watch us. There are people that believe in us. And there are people that are on this journey with us. When I was at Ponies in the Smokies, I had someone come up to me and have me sign their helmet. I had another kid in line tell me that I'm going to come back later and I'm going to have you sign something because I didn't have a pen on it. I'm like, you don't want me to sign something for you? He's like, no, I do. He came back the next day and had me sign his phone case. So to us, there's not a lot of people watching. To other people, we're nobodies because we don't have the subscribers. But to those two people, I'm something. And I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because we do have those people that wish they could be doing what we're doing. And I want to let them know that, hey, you can do this stuff too. So for the person that has me sign whatever, I'm going to keep doing what I am doing so that you still see value in that signature that's on your phone case or on your helmet. Not because I think that I'm hot shit, but because I want to let you know that I'm not giving up because I know that you haven't given up on what we're doing.
I like that. I'm not giving up, so you shouldn't give up either. I like that. That's good. That's excuse me, that's heartwarming right there.
I'm around Ethan's friends from time to time, and they know me as Ethan's dad that does YouTube. I went to go visit my daughter in Raleigh, North Carolina, and she's taking me around to places and introducing me to people. And they're like, oh, you're the race car driver. We've heard all about you. And to me, I'm like, okay, yeah, I do YouTube, but it's a small little channel. And yes, I do go racing, but I'm not a Joey Logano. But here's the thing. To my kids, I'm somebody. And to them, it's a big deal. And at the end of the day, it's okay to feel like you're doing something cool and you're doing something fun that you enjoy. Because whether I'm just rally crossing here at an independent level, Chelsea DeNova at one point in time was just drifting at an independent level. We've said this time and time before. Again, is without the grassroots, there is no pros. So we are out there doing something that's big to us. And there's a lot of people that take grassroots motorsports very, very seriously. So if we turn our nose up at grassroots motorsports and think that what we're doing isn't cool, then why even do it? I'm not saying this again to make it sound like I'm some hot dog fucking race car driver, but to some people I am. And that's cool because, again, that's something that somebody else looks at and says, I wish that I had the courage to do that. I wish that I could go out there and do that. So who am I to say how big or little something I am that I'm doing is, if it's big or little to somebody else? It's all a matter of perception. But at the end of the day, I know that I'm having fun. I know that there's people that are along for this ride with us that are enjoying it. And I'm not ready to get off. And when the time comes that I can't do this anymore, either by my choice or God's choice, I just want to know that I gave it my all and I didn't half-ass it.
Yeah, that's good, man. I hope that people watching this feel motivated because, like, if people, so many people are like, "Oh, did you catch the new episode of La Da Da?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't because I don't really watch TV. In fact, I'm typically listening to a podcast or a motivational speech or something to get me in gear and keep me in gear." These last 3 weeks, I've been just going. And that's a lot of what you're saying is like typically listened to all the time. So when people say like, how do you, when everything seems against you, how do you continue to like push forward and keep moving forward? And all the time is like, I need to rehear these things, right? They need to keep coming into my ear and remind myself like, hey, you said you would do it, so do it. Everyone's already counting you out. Prove them wrong. Sometimes you got to lean into the ugly a little bit too. I don't know if you do that. You got to lean into the doubters and the haters just a little bit. Not so much where you get crippled by it, but enough that you go, no, they're not going to get that satisfaction, you know? So, yeah, I hope people listening feel the energy and feel the passion and feel that urge to go out there and do the thing, whether it's riding a horse, painting a painting, or, you know, building a race car and building a YouTube channel. I hope they feel that motivation to do so.
I said I was in Canada recently, and I just drove up there, and I didn't do anything exciting. I just sat there by the shore, and I watched the sunset, and to me, that was crazy. Just to see the snow-capped mountains and know that I was out there and had that experience, because there's so many other people that never leave their house or never leave their small town. And what I'm seeing is just a small corner of this world. And I want to see as much of it as I can before I go, because there's so much beauty in this world, as so many people get caught up in the ugliness, and they allow the ugliness to weigh themselves down and not achieve their true potential. And I don't mean to sit here and start preaching to the whole world, but it's like, again, when you have loss in your life, you can either sit there and be sad, or you can look at all the great things that they did. When I went through my uncle's home with his son, we found out there's so much about this guy that we didn't even know. He had taken up archery, shooting, which we knew he had done. He had started keeping bees and making his own honey and making his own wine and making his own beer. And he had done so many other activities, modeling cars and planes and learning how to fly. And it's these things that we didn't all know about him, but he was out there living his life. And even though it was cut short, we sat there and we looked at it and we're like, wow. He had done so much, and he'd also kept so many photos and history of their entire family. His dad was a leader of the Boy Scouts. His grandfather was a surgeon who saved the lives of many, many people and wrote many great papers that he had held on to pass down to his son so he could learn more about his family. So it's like, if we sit there and we just stare at the cover of this book and we're afraid to open it because we're afraid of how it ends, we'll never learn the great stories that are between those two covers. And we just got to get out there and do it. You know, write your own book, live your own story, and don't worry about the story that's on the shelf next to you. Unless it's going to be a two-parter and you guys work together great, fuck it. This is the story of your life. Live it.
That's very true. Dude, I'm just going to have to show you one day when you come by. I have like a ticket book that I got in South Korea. It was just on a whim. I was like, I'm going to start saving every little ticket from everything me and Ashley do. Brother, this thing is fat as shit. It's so big now, from all the ticket stubs and movies. Sometimes we go through it and we're like, oh, we went and saw John Wick together. And look, we bought popcorn and 2 beers. Like, you know, we write little notes in there. I mean, so many things, museums. And it's fun to look back on. So yeah, we're doing that stuff like now. And then I recently shared my military coin collection with a friend of mine. And it's crazy how like right now I can think of a few, but I was like, oh yeah, I got this one for this. I got this one for that. There's like a story behind every single one, right? 3-star General Milley gave me this. I'll never forget that one for presenting a Medal of Honor, right? He's 4-star now. And I think he was chief of staff. He was something up in the Pentagon. He moved up quick. So it's cool to have all those keepsakes and everything. And dude, the only thing I'm missing is a couple racing trophies. That would really put the cherry on top for me.
Yeah, exactly. And we're leaving this behind as a time capsule for them to be able to look back on it, because I lost both of my grandparents. And again, like I said earlier, they raised me. And I have photos that I have of them that I look back on fondly, but I can't remember the sound of their voices anymore. And it sucks, especially considering I had been with them, for 30 something, 40 something years. And now I can't remember the sound of their voice. Our kids aren't going to have that because they're going to have these videos or these podcasts to listen to. And that will help them in a moment when they're sad to be able to just sit there and listen and know that we cared about them and that we love them and be able to smile. And that's all that we can do. Life is a series of moments, and don't make them shitty.
Yeah, like you just said, maybe our kids will look back and listen on this. Yeah, for whatever reason, Gabe's like, man, my dad's a butthole. Hey, buddy, just know that I gave you a bath tonight, and I snuck an extra piece of chocolate for you because mom said no. And you're like, okay, yeah. He ate it in the bathtub. Like, oh, he got real quiet. Yeah. And then I remembered you just had all the photos and everything, and it's so funny because, I mean, Bad Bunny just dropped his new album. Debí tirar más fotos. I should have taken more photos. And the whole premise of that is, like, even in his music videos and all the interviews he's done, he has said, like, I should have slowed down a little bit and taken more photos to look back on and share with my family and friends.
Yeah. A couple years ago, I was in St. Louis, Missouri, just ahead of the St. Louis Auto Show. And I was sitting at a table at a Marriott hotel with Jared Dienda. And this was just after we had all found out Ken Block had died. And sitting there with him, and I had met Ken, as I've said before, and he was a nice guy to me when I met him, but I never got the time to truly know him, but Jared did. And Jared said in that moment, like, man, I just wish I would have taken more photos. And I have photos with him, but there's those times where you see people and you're like, well, we'll get it next time, or, oh, he's busy and let me take it next time. And then you don't get that next time. And I see Jared now when he's with people and he's taking these photos and he's having those moments, and he and I have taken those photos and had those moments. And he has had people in the motorsports world that he's lost. And I see him post those photos, and sometimes they're older photos. And he says, I wish the last time I saw you, I would have gotten that photo. And that's what you got to do. You got to have those moments with these people, because again, you don't know when your last time with them is going to be. So enjoy it, have fun, balls to the wall, do what you got to do. This year felt like it had just started, and we're already, again, in April. So time is going to fly by fast. Before we know it, this time is going to be gone. Let's just fucking do it. This is the year that we are going to absolutely kill it. You're going to go out there and drift. I'm going to recover from my horrible loss that I had last time at Rallycross. God willing, if we're allowed to have this chance, we're going to make the most of it, and we're going to do what we need to do. And we're going to bring anybody along for us, along with us on this ride that wants to go on it. And if you don't, that's awesome. See us the next loop around and say, dang, I should have hopped on the bus sooner, because this is what we are here for. We got some cool stuff coming up. We have Dreamers of Drifts with Brian Garcia. Tirado is going to compete in. We have Mustang Week Texas, which is going to be one of the biggest spectacles you have ever seen in your entire life. Myself and the whole RTR Vehicles team are going to be out there. We have Rallycross coming up. We have so many events coming up. I got so much stuff that I got to do to the Mustang, to the GR Corolla, to the Raptor. Make sure you're following this guy right here, Brian Garcia Tirado, on all the socials, Tirado Racing. You can find him on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all of that. You can follow me, J_Racing, J_Dub_Racing. I'm turning into Yes Way Jose on all my socials as well. And Weekend Media, we're available on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all of that. Make sure that you're following along for this ride, because again, it's short-lived, but we're going to have some fun with it. Brian, thank you, dude, for joining me. We're going to get back on the regular for this and have a lot of fun. This was a very, very good one, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. For Weekend Media, I'm Jordan Wheeler. Peace.